the drama comes from. Goes around the Chevy that just seemed to sort of falter in second or maybe third gear. Poulsen there with the lead from Coronel, and Michaelis looks inside before he gets caught out under braking. And he wasn't being over-ambitious, he wasn't clearly lining up a shot down the inside. I think he was more than happy to tuck into fourth place there, having got by Menu, the car that he couldn't pass in race one. He'd done enough, and then the guys in front of him checked up a little.
Yeah, you can see it's totally accidental, and it's a shame that it happened, but these things do happen. Yeah,
racing incident. Did seem as though he wasn't losing any fluid as well, and that might just be a saving grace to get him out there. From Menu's viewpoint, well, the brake lights in front are obscured, but he did leave a big gouge in the road there as he went down the inside, clipping first Mehdi Benani, the pole man, and then this is Christian Poulsen's car, turns in whammo, and that clang sounds like nothing much on your TV, but it sends a shiver right through your body when you get hit like that, Harry.
Yeah, but the rotation of the car as well, when you get hit on the end like that, it kind of twists everything in your body, and it's not a very comfortable thing to be in.
Well, that was Oriola going off on the grass, and that's what I thought was the huge explosion of bits of blue and white Seat having hit the end of the barrier as we picked it up initially, but just going through that polystyrene marker as they got to the rain the first time. And here in corner 4, everybody at this stage, even with big plippy-ploppy rain falling, still a relatively decent amount of grip. It was only when it really started to hose down towards the end of the lap that cars were flying off everywhere. Well, there is Louise with her own personal umbrella man.
Gabriele Tarquini made up 6 places there. I think he started 7th, and obviously was bleeding by the end of it, so he must have had a really good start.
Started 7th, went backwards, and then came up through the rain as everybody else skated off, perhaps just being a little more judicious. And again, the low down torque of that diesel engine probably helping him. Well, there's our safety car driver Bruno out making a first exploratory lap, and you can see the Maserati Grand Sport getting the tail out nicely. He's got to push on to find out how much or how little grip there is. It is on road tyres, although they have been worked quite hard this weekend. There is still tread on them, so he'll be able to gauge compared to where the dry grip is, how much grip there is remaining, and then he'll report back to race control to give them his opinion on the sense or otherwise of starting the race. Let's get down to the grid with Louise and catch up with Gabriele Tarquini.
Well, Gabriele, we've just been told the race is starting again in approximately 11 minutes. You got that lead. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the race condition is completely changed now, but better for me because I was 7 on the grid. Now I'm in the first position, so nobody knows the condition of the track. Nobody tests on the wet, so can be better for us, I think.
Do you think the turbo diesel will be better in the wet?
Yeah, on dry condition we was not very fast, so it's hard to resist the 12 lap against the Chevrolet and BMW because they had something more than us. So we will see.
Are you preparing yourself for another race defending?
I hope no. I hope to be faster than in dry condition, but you never know. I mean, I make a really great start and a fantastic move on my second lap because I overtook 2 cars on the outside on the second corner on second lap. So it was a great move, and I'm very proud of it.
Thank you.
Well, he is becoming the benchmark for getting touring cars off the line. He starts astonishingly well in almost any conditions. And the turbo diesel is a well-proven car in the rain. In the past, in wet weather conditions, we've seen it have a greater advantage over the rear-wheel drive BMWs, whose tyre temperatures tend to drop off because they don't work the tyres so hard. Work's still going on to try and get Norbert Michaelis out on track. And do you know what? The crowd might go home wet, but I think they'll go happy if he gets back out there. And again, look at the surface. Not lots of standing water lying around in a lot of places. Now, steaming away quite heavily as well, so you can see how hot the track tarmac was before. And of course, that's not just a surface temperature, that's temperature coming all the way from the depth of the tarmac, so that will largely remain. It should help the track to dry out pretty quickly. And race looking to be resumed. We're just seeing the 10-minute ball being taken out onto the grid at 2:05 local, which is just under 10 minutes from now. So the 10-minute ball will be given at 1:55. It is now 1:55 and 40 seconds. So we are in the 10-minute countdown to get
looking out the back window, people are starting to walk around again, and already you can see the water is starting to run to the lower points and looking a bit drier on the higher points.
Yeah, a lot of umbrellas being put away. I think it is still just drizzling very slightly. But again, it is so warm here, actually. Being outside in the rain might not have been a bad thing at all. Gabriele Tarquini will restart the race as our leader ahead of Tom Coronel and the rest. And it will be in single file behind the safety car. And let's get down to the grid and hear from Tom Coronel.
Tom Coronel, you had a fantastic start there, but how are you feeling now with Tarquini with the benefit of the turbo diesel ahead of you?
I was watching a little bit too much in the mirror with Manu, so Tarquini passed me on the outside, but it was a red flag, so they calculate one lap back, so that's why we can start here. I mean, nobody drove in the wet on this circuit because it has been dry all the time. I just see it as a big mess starting, because it will be a guess where to brake and how to take the corners. But the start was all right. I saw Michelis coming from the inside. I thought, oh, he's a little bit too enthusiastic, so I opened, and then he crashed into Paulsen. So I had a little bit of luck there to avoid the accident. But this race is going to be very interesting. I just asked my team to get the slicks ready, because you destroyed the rain tire, because there are many corners and it's very hot. I think we should take a gamble.
Yeah, with your history, I'm surprised you haven't got slicks on.
Yeah, maybe you're right. But the Coronel combination is not on the rear-wheel drive car. At that time I was driving front-wheel drive cars. This is a rear-wheel drive car, so it's a different situation. But wait and see, wait and see.
Thank you.
Well, the longer it goes on before we get restarted, the drier the track is getting, and the longer or the shorter the life of the wet weather tyre is going to be. I wonder if he's patented that, the Coronel combination. That's the slick on the front and the wet on the rear of a front-wheel drive car, where the rear tyres, if you don't have the wets on, will just go stone cold and will go off completely. And again, he used that, didn't he, to win famously in Japan. Held off a hard-charging Augusto Farfus right to the final corner. But well, there is a tyre trolley coming back out onto the grid now, and I think where's that going to? Mikel Nukia, a little further back. You watch the crowd again. Look, it's looking an awful lot brighter. The storm has passed. The rain hasn't entirely. Sunshine out the back door, and the rain has stopped out the back of the commentary box. So it may well actually even be dry on the grid now, or at least dry air on the grid. I think the storm has passed.
I think.
Ooh, okay, H, come on. Are you going to gamble or not? Coronel's got a tyre trolley beside his car, as everybody else has. He's got slicks on. They're warm.
If you're Coronel, it could be more difficult to start on the wet and the slicks on the BMW.
We'll wait and see. Here's Alan Menu.
Just been told we've got 30 seconds, so what can you do now?
I'm not sure, to be honest, because we haven't driven in the wet on that track, and you know, some of them are driving like lunatics, so you know, we'll see what happens after 2 laps or so, and then we'll see where we are.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. The vibe is we might be looking at full green flag pit stops, mightn't we?
Yeah,
we might be looking at tyre gamble all over the place. And then we get to something that we saw in Spa last year in the GP3 support race on both days. A driver who stays out on the wrong tyre, track position, and manages to somehow hold on, either on a slick in the rain, which was happened on Saturday, or on a wet weather tyre as it dried out and everybody stopped, dropped right back, caught him like Billio, but he just managed to hang on. That was Adrian Tombe, who we saw in AutoGP. So track position is everything. If you're Tarquini, you're going to lead away in wet conditions where you know what your car does. The BMW drivers don't. The Chevrolet drivers, to a degree, might, but not here. Tarquini knows what his car does in the wet.
Yeah.
It's not a time for him to gamble. Has Coronel gambled? No, he has not changed tyres.
I think we'll probably see a few people, maybe further down the order, who've got less to lose, especially in front-wheel drives, putting the Coronel combination onto their car, which is the slick on the front and the wet on the rear.
Among whom, I think, possibly, might be Darrell O'Young.
I think from where Darrell is back there, he might as well give it a
place.
go. I think if it was me, I'd